Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Horror News Radio, the official Gruesome Magazine podcast. And back with me again this week are the scariest, goriest, bloodiest co-hosts on the net. And tonight we're reviewing Fear Street Part 3, 1666. Way back when. All right, joining me tonight is the one and only Dreher. Welcome, sir.
Let's do the entire review like they did the first part of this with the old time talking. Thou art seen thine film, for thou shalt review it.
Oh my God, I have a hard enough time doing it now. Jeez, you just
our accents would probably just be as mixed as they are.
Ah, true. That is true. Okay, also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
Oh wow.
That was very dramatic.
That was very dramatic. Maybe they should have cast you as one of the bewitching people. I'm doing fine. I'm living deliciously after watching this film. If you get that reference, then you'll know what they're trying to do in this.
They're trying.
Yes.
Here's a scratch and sniff sticker for trying. You're Peachy Keen, 1666.
Oh, no, that's terrible. All right. We want to welcome a special guest host,
Jeff Mohr. There he is.
Mohr.
I see him.
Greetings. Thanks for the invite. And, I didn't get at all what he was talking about, so it must be an inside H&M thing.
No, it's called a movie called The Witch.
Okay.
Where you live, wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Yes, okay.
Except we have a pig in this one instead of a goat.
Yeah.
I didn't get the delicious and the scratch and sniff part. But that's okay.
I'm just saying that this did not live deliciously.
Okay.
I'm saying here's a participation sticker. That's what I'm saying for trying to be the witch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the train wreck. All right, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give our first impression of this, the third of the trilogy, and then we're going to dive into a discussion. The first impressions will be spoiler-free. The discussion will be spoiler-full. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But what in the world are we talking about? We are talking about Fear Street Part 3, 1666. It's available on Netflix beginning July 16th, 2021. The synopsis thrusts back into 1666. Dina, learns the truth about Sarah Fier. Back in 1994, the friends fight for their lives and Shadysiders' future. Directed by Leigh Janiak, written by Olkewicz, Phil Graziadei, and Leigh Janiak. I never could pronounce his name, and the other two, why would I start now? Based on the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine, and the cast includes, but is not limited to, Jillian Jacobs, Matthew Zuck, Kiana Madeira, Benjamin Flores Jr., Sadie Sink, Brandon Spink, Ted Sutherland, Emily Rudd, McCabe Sly, Ryan Simpkins, Sam Brooks, and Drew Sheed. All right, let's do this. What is our first impressions? And Jeff, please, would you start us off? Darn, he says.
All right. Actually, we were chatting a little bit ahead of time, but I was okay with this. Is it a good movie? No, but I was okay with it. I kind of enjoyed twist that was in there, which I'm sure everybody else saw, but I didn't see. I like the way that they tied it back into the future. In other words, part 1 in 1994, those characters. And of course, we see, I think, every single character in the first two parts shows up in 1666 as a similar character or member of the family, etc. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. And there's I don't know. There's some good ideas there, some good tactics, some good what's the word I want? Good tactics, I guess, in fighting the killers. And I think but you know what? Also, we did not get the bombardment of period pop music because There wasn't any, I don't think.
Well,
Anyway.
when they return, there is.
Yeah.
When they returned, yeah.
But it wasn't as bad.
Right. It was more reserved for sure. All right. Is that it? Is that your first impression?
That's
sir?
it. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to be in my top 10.
No. Dave Dreher, sir, you're up next. Your first impression of Fear Street Part 6. That's funny. In my notes, I have Part 6.
No, that's not right. We don't need three. We don't need three more parts of this, please. God, no. Yeah, I want to continue with my same comments from last review. This is very uneven. Picked up obviously in 1666, and I found the first probably third of this to be just mind-numbingly boring. The whole, the wandering through the town and the lesbian experience stuff and all that. Just, mind-numbing. I think I even texted you at one point, Doc, of like, I ain't digging this shit.
You did say that. You did.
And then there's which I'm sure we'll talk about here in the next few minutes. There's a turning point. A thing happens, and then it kind of picks up a little bit, and then it gets a little better. But again, it all kind of feeds into that whole unevenness that I've been experiencing with this. So there's some of it I really, really liked. I kind of like how it ended. I liked our big final battle, if you will. I thought that was a lot of fun. But other parts of it, I just, I don't know. I don't know if they had a bevy of writers on this or I don't know. I don't know what the problem is with it, but it's very uneven. That's my first impression.
It's a fair first impression. I will give you. Christopher G. Mohr, sir, you're up next. Your first impression of Fear Street Part 3. 66.
What are you, Shatner now? If you saw my last review of the second part, I was not a big fan of that. That movie made me mad. This one I tolerated much better. But again, like the first part involved basically a ripoff of Scream. The second one was more of a ripoff of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Friday 13th. And this one's very witch-esque, at least the first, 2/3 or whatever. And then they take all those actors from the first two films and then have them playing all these characters back in 1666. I kind of wish they probably should have just gotten new actors, but I could see what they're kind of doing. Although their accents were all over the place. And some of them kind of dropped their accent, pulled a Kevin Costner and kind of dropped their accent at certain points. Forget it. Although I will say I did like the twist. I thought that was interesting. And I did like it when they returned back to the 90s and the whole battle stuff. I loved the use of the black light stuff, which added elements of color and stuff that was kind of cool to see. But yeah, at the same time, it was like you go for something like The Witch, which is just like, the dialogue feels like it came from that time period. And then this one, it felt like there's like one part where the guy calls her a frigid bitch. And I was like, I feel like that would not be a phrase you would use back then. That feels like more of a contemporary phrase. So then I was like criticizing that. And then the writing, yeah. Oh, I had to write this line down. This is probably one of the stupidest lines I've ever heard.
One of the stupidest lines.
Where the girl's brother says, "You smell like an androgynous baby." What even does that mean? What does that mean? You smell like an androgynous baby? Who wrote that piece of dialogue? I had to do a triple take and went back and played that. I was like, did he say you smell like it? What does that mean?
I don't know the answer to that question.
It's not obvious to me what smell they were talking about.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't smell like a boy or a girl. It smells somebody. But what does that mean? And I guess he's
babies smell like babies. They don't.
Well, I know. I don't know. So
a baby would not know it's androgynous.
Evidently,
the writer smells like baby powder or poop.
I guess the writers on this were taking some of the drugs that they take in this series. In fact, we had another drug scene. I'm sure, Jeff, you were excited to see another drug scene.
Oh, no, not that bad, though. I mean,
not that bad. That was a little bit more tolerable than eating berries as opposed to just, playing Russian roulette with drugs. But yeah, it's I don't know. Things like that. It was. I agree with Dave. It's very uneven. To me, I wasn't really interested in the old timey stuff. Other than I think at least the gore was a little bit better in scenes with like eyes gouging and other things. I thought that there's like a hand chopping thing was kind of cool. Very, very like violent and okay. I was more interested in when we returned to the 90s, and then it kind of kicked off, and that storyline was much more interesting, and the twist and stuff. So I did like this better than the previous one, at least the last third or whatever. But yeah, it's a very uneven film that has lines like that just had made my brain hurt just trying to understand what does that mean. It's supposed to. I mean, there's even one part where the kid says, "I'm going to punch you in the dickhead." It's like. Some weird dialogue creation in the screenplay. I'm not sure anybody talks like that other than in these films. And maybe it's an R.L. Stein thing. I don't know if he said, "I'm going to punch you in the dickhead."
I really don't think
I don't see R.L. Stein writing that. I really don't.
No.
Okay. Well, but anyway, that's my first impression.
I think it's incredible that you actually decided to write all this down.
It's interesting, but bonkers.
So yeah, this one was not a happy film. I like the first two, and I like the last 30 minutes of this one. But man, the whole flashback could have been a 10-minute sequence somewhere. They didn't need all that. Yeah. It was just overly padded nonsense. And I just can't. I want to try to give it some more credit, but it's just like, that was. I do like that our guy came back. The guy that we had in the jail cell in the first one, and he came back to help him out, and his reaction to everything just was great. He was my favorite.
Oh, yeah, the mall maintenance guy.
The mall maintenance guy, especially when stuff would go down, and he would just like go freaking out. There's the last 30 minutes of this is actually. It's actually good, but the first hour is not, and it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating because I was a fan of the first two. I liked the second. I'm the only one that really liked the second one. I don't know, Jeff. You kind of liked it too, right? But I really enjoyed.
I like everything.
One. Yeah, and
I thought you'd like this more because that beginning stuff all reminded me of that piece of shit movie that you loved and I hated, that Gwen movie.
Oh really my god!
I thought of that as I'm watching this. I'm like, oh my god,
Jeff is a piece of shit. Jeff will like it.
Jeff's sitting there, and I would go, yes, more please, because I hated that thing, and that's why I didn't really think of The Witch as much as I thought of that Gwen thing. But The Witch is a good The Witch is a good comparison as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought that you would really enjoy it for that reason alone, Jeff.
Did you, sir?
I didn't have a problem with the beginning.
You're all in?
I like the end better, but I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Now, okay, so
I was curious as to how they were going to fix the problem back then, because what was that going to do to the timeline? And
right.
But they pulled it off.
So I want to ask you this, because all our other characters show up as characters back in 1666, but our lead character replaces another character, or is that what all the other ones are supposed to be doing as well? What is your take on that, Jeff? Because we actually have a face.
I didn't have a take. I just took it.
You just took
it. You just accepted it.
Well, I'm trying to think back to part one, but how that ended up and how connected she was. Did that end with her touching? I mean, did she touch the lump or have some connection with the witch or with Sarah Fier?
Well, at the end of the
point?
Yeah, at the end of the second one, she put the hand and the skeleton back together.
Right, exactly.
Right. So I think that might be, because then that's what I think might have been why she replaced somebody. She became Sarah Fier, and then every once in a while we saw a flash of what Sarah Fier really looked like,
especially toward the end of the that 1666.
Right.
What about you guys? Did Dave, Christopher, did either of you have a problem with her being in that role when it's supposed to be Sarah Fier?
No, I thought exactly what we just said. I thought it was the same thing. I thought the fact that she had touched the corpse, that there was a connection. We were actually in that moment seeing her as the people in that time were seeing her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was just kind of something I took for granted. I didn't question it either.
Okay, that's just.
I just took using the same actors as an easy convention to show they were ancestors.
No,
it
that's
was
true.
that family originally.
Yeah, I mean, for the good, I would, that makes sense. For the good family, because the good people are bad, right? So, good family.
And Sam and her brother.
Woo! Yeah. Hey, I read or heard. I'm not sure. Somebody's going to have to fact check me on this, so please do. But the woman who directed this, she is either married to or engaged to one of the Duffer brothers from Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I think she is I thought she was a North Carolina filmmaker because was it
Honeymoon?
Honeymoon.
She's from my neck of the woods. Said she was from northeastern Ohio.
Oh, really? Because I guess
she's married to Ross Duffer. So
yeah, because I know that I have there's a actress that I've worked with before who had a small part in The Honeymoon. And so I didn't know if they shot it in North Carolina, maybe that's how they connected. I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that there was that connection to Stranger Things and all that.
Maybe that's how they were able to get.
She's been married to him for quite a while.
Yeah. Somebody posted it up on Facebook and I read it, but I didn't take the time to actually.
Well, I guess it also makes it easier if they had all the different actors playing different parts, so that if they just had like the sheriff or the one person, playing the part, I guess we're in spoiler territory.
We're spoilers.
Okay, I realize I just spoiled the shit out of that. But if it was just him, then you would sort of, I guess, see that connection. Although, I don't know about you, but I'm going to sell my soul to the devil so I could be a sheriff. That's the main reason I would sell my soul, is to be a sheriff in the town.
In that town, yeah. That crossed my mind, but...
although I did find it funny that we find out in the very end, he's got like this big house, this big rich house, and he's got all these inspirational posters on his walls.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was his house or his brother's house, because his brother's the mayor or something, right?
Well, I thought the brother was across the street, but maybe that was.
Is he the one that's in the car that?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was kind of confused about, because then they said his brother's kind of disowned him, but then I thought, was that guy just a random guy who got hit at the end?
Yeah, I think they were just. I don't know.
It's kind of vague. Are we trying to say it's a bit uneven? I think that's what we're trying to say.
Although I don't know, Dave. Maybe you could give some insight on this. But I thought some of the gore was better in this one, like with the gouged out eyes, people.
Yeah, I agree. And the hand thing was brutal.
I was like,
that would hurt.
It kind of hurt me watching that. I was like, that's actually really well done.
Yeah, that was actually really brutal. It really was. I thought the same. But again, it was so far in between. I mean, there was so much filler between all that.
Yeah, but then it sort of went to like Lost Boys, area, the last third and stuff, where they're battling in the mall, and that was the most fun part. I mean,
that was pretty cool
when they have all the monsters fighting each other. That was probably my favorite thing of the whole thing, because it was just kind of, I mean, that was kind of a cool thing when you can make them fight each other. I could have just watched that for an extra 20 minutes.
I could have too. Did we like the finale? Back with our hero disposing of the villain that we've named, but we're not going to name again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In the cave.
Although I don't know about you guys, I guess maybe I had my expectation was that the original girl was going to show up in some form.
The Sarah Fier herself.
Maybe that's just the normal way most films kind of end. That the person that's been, other than just like remember or whatever. I kind of expected that she was going to show up in some
Well,
form,
there-
just like the villains, the main monsters were, but we didn't even see
Well,
other
she
than
wasn't-
just flashbacks.
Yeah, she wasn't a main monster. Spoilers. But anyway, did you see the stinger? There was a stinger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Who knows what that
Oh.
was? All right.
Oh, it's just, it gives them an open way to let's
Yeah.
make more.
Let's do 4, 5, and 6, Dave.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
and tell me you didn't wonder why they left that laying there. Supposedly everything's getting done, and then they leave this thing that.
They leave that there with the
Wouldn't that
obviously
be
somebody
part of
was there.
evidence?
It would. They would have collected it. All that would have been left was the marker. It doesn't make any sense. And I
It's
was
I
magic.
know. There's moments I just I yelled at the screen, where people would just stand there. There's one part where she just stands there, and I'm like, "Help! Help the person! Why are you just standing there?" I don't know. And then I kind of feel like that the witches would have said "Hey, why don't you go look underneath that person's house and you'll find some devil thing." What? Say something. But I don't know. But I don't know.
you don't know. You don't know.
I don't know.
that.
I don't hate this as much as the last one. Although I will say,
Although
I've
I'm
seen
not-
several people on social media who've applauded the first two and loved them. So that's cool to hear that some people can see the good in them, the good in those episodes. But I don't know. Just the unevenness, the logic around things didn't kind of make sense. Like how long the blood will last and things like that. But I mean, I don't know. Although what was although the Gadzooks store, I was kind of I thought kind of cool because I remember that back in the day in the mall. So those kind of references and
Yeah, I seen a B. Dalton bookseller in there too, man. I hadn't seen a B. Dalton bookseller in ages in that mall.
well, that was that's where that girl in the first episode was.
Yeah.
And so those
That's
kind of
where she
malls
worked,
oh.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5. Oh dear. And our favorite scene. And we can't all choose the same one, although we want to. All right. But before we do, if you're still hanging out with us, we want to thank you for listening to our reviews. We hope you enjoy not only this one, but many others. We did the other two, as you may have figured out. And we do a lot of them. There's just about one every day. Just check them out and let us know what you think. If you want to help us out, you can do so easily. You can hit the subscribe button down below or share with a friend. It does wonders. And of course, as I said earlier, leave comments. We'd love to read them. All right, Jeff, sir, you're up first. Your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene.
Okay, so I just looked at this as kind of a fun contemporary look at some of these different genre films. They stole or paid homage, however you want to look at it, from some other films, but I don't think it was in an attempt to outdo them or anything. It was just a fun reference for slasher fans, I think, or fans of pieces of shit. but excuse me. I've said more swear words. I've said more swear words in this evidence. You're a bad influence, Dave. That's
blame it on Dave. Blame it on Dave. Oh, wow.
I'm sure right about the first one.
I was going to say it's a daily occurrence.
Oh,
Anyway.
Dave.
So I enjoyed it despite its flaws. I kind of liked the whole witch thing and was interested in where they were going. Did it take a little while to get through it? Yeah, but I still think it was, I don't know. I think they were kind of setting the stage, and it didn't bother me. I didn't get to the point where I was going, kill me or anything like that. And now I'm glad you had me go first because favorite scene, I'm taking the hand.
Oh, okay.
The hand removal.
Nice.
That just and it played into stuff that you already knew about, so you kind of knew something like that was going to have to happen. You just didn't know when, and I hadn't really been thinking about it until that started to happen. I'm going to give this. Oh, somebody's got to do it. Um, 3.25.
All right, I like that. That's actually
I almost went 3.5, but there's just too much silliness in it. And
too much silliness. That's going to be on the box. All right, Dave Dreher, you're up next, sir. Your final
My
thoughts.
turn, huh? Well, I'm just gonna keep on preaching the same line I have. It's just very uneven. With that being said, though, I did kind of enjoy it. The good parts are quite good. Unfortunately, they're just few and far between. So yeah, I mean, it's worth a watch, I guess. My favorite scene is actually going to be the scene where I decided I was not going to fall asleep and continue watching. That would be the church eye gouging scene.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed that quite a bit. That's really kind of where things kind of turned the corner. From there, then we head into the whole, she's a witch, and that whole thing, and things kind of pick up from there. And it looked good. The eye gougings looked really good. We had a nice little pile of eyeballs in the middle of the church, and a bunch of eyeless churchgoers.
I see what you did there.
I'm going to give this a 2.75. It's better than middle of the road, but just barely.
I feel that's very generous of you. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's worth it.
All right, very good. Christopher G. Mohr, sir, you're next. Give it to us.
This film did not live deliciously. I wouldn't even call it delicious. It's probably the energy bar you eat.
Oh, the dry energy bars.
My God, it's the kind bar of movies. No.
Yes, it's the kind bar of movies. Yeah, I will say the 1666 stuff I wasn't into as much. It almost felt like it felt like the characters dressing up as those characters as opposed to embodying those characters. And then the accents were all over the place. But at least it had some of the violence and stuff was a little bit more interesting than previous episodes, I think. And I do like the twist aspect of it, of who's, that everything's not as clear as to who the real witch is. So I found that to be very intriguing. And then once we returned back to the 90s, I think it did a better job of making me sort of like entertained by that period than the first film did, just in the last third of it. But it's an overly long film that really, I felt like the 1666 stuff should have been cut down. And there's I think even the beginning, there's so much shaky camera stuff when she shows up in the village and stuff. It's okay, we get it. This is supposed to be old timey, but you don't have to make the camera so shaky. This isn't Born Identity. This is just, or I guess Witch Identity is should be called. But I think, if anything, the most entertaining thing was just the pieces of dialogue. There's parts where they try to use old timey dialogue to say the same thing, like making fun of a guy's dick. They have this old timey way of saying that was kind of entertaining, where you have these teenage people that are sort of saying the same type of thing but just using dialogue. But then other things were just did I just hear that? So I think to paraphrase the film, this film smelled like an androgynous baby. It's this weird thing that doesn't make a lot of sense, but you're still intrigued by it. I did like this a whole lot better than the second one. So I'll give it. It's generous considering all the stuff I've said about it. I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I think just
nice.
Just I think that the last third of it saves it for me. And just those batshit crazy lines, I still can't wrap my head around. It smells like an androgynous baby. I just want to be in the writer's room when they came up with that. Who okayed that as something that would be a normal thing people would say? That just sounds like something a crazy person would say. And as for favorite scene, I'm kind of glad you guys didn't steal it, because I've already said that I love this scene, but It's the Mortal Kombat battle royale of all the monsters. I love that. When they get, I mean, that's one of the times where it made a perfect. That's like the perfect idea. You would say, "Hey, let's just spray them with the blood, and then they're going to fight each other." And it's like, okay, I'm into this. I could see more of this. Let's see them fighting each other again and again. So that, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, we had I don't think the one guy was in the previous one, the one with like the mask or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that one before.
He was like tall as shit. He was so much taller. So just seeing him like come down looked kind of freaking scary. He was like freaking Slender Man with a mask. So yeah, that's probably my favorite scene that really stood out that I really enjoyed. I was like, ooh, this I likey. So yeah, that's my favorite scene, and that's what
I
my last impression on that.
You were going to take that one. All right, I'm going to agree with Dario George, who commented on our last review and says, I think the third is going to be the weakest one of the bunch. You were right, sir. You were right.
Nailed it.
Is the weakest one of the bunch. I am terribly disappointed by this. And much like Christopher, the last 30 minutes does just about save it. That's a lot of fun. I don't need the first hour of that. I just need the gist of it. Oh my God. That's like, it's like bad exposition on crack. It's too much. Oh man. My score, I'm still giving it a 3. I think Christopher, you're right. That's fair because they're and same with you, Jeff. There are elements of this that are good. There are elements that are interesting and fun and stuff, but yeah, I feel like 3 is also generous as well. But I'm going to say it's deserved, and less said, the better. I think that my favorite scene is all 3 of the ones you chose are really the best scenes in the thing. And I guess the last one left to choose, I suppose, is going to have to be when with the final battle with the knife to the things, which was rather apropos, right? Get right in the eye. This is when it got to be gory. It was fairly gory, although I don't understand the blob monster in the. I mean, I get it because it was creating the little thingies, but then it just went. That was anticlimactic.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought maybe she's gonna drop like the fire on it or something. You know, it's like I kept thinking like, can you kill the blob
or something like. Or throw him in it or something, you know, they're like right at it. Well, you know, and they just kind of, seems like a missed opportunity. But this move, oh man.
Although I'm wondering if, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if that nurse from the second movie might be the one that does the thing in the end credits.
That's probably a really
considering
good...
she had the fascination around her little book.
That is who I thought it was.
Yeah,
I mean,
it felt like a female hand grabbed it.
So.
Oh,
did it feel like that?
It felt like an androgynous baby grabbed it.
There you go. Boom. All right, Jeff, Dave, Christopher, thank you for joining me for as we review the final episode of Fear Street. It was a lot of fun, even if we are uneven about our thinking about this uneven film.
I'm sure there'll be some people who, love the shit out of it, and that's kind of cool,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it exists. I mean, I'm happy that Netflix is making things like this and promoting it. Right, they're putting it out there and they're making a big deal out of it. So I'm all happy. I mean, they're putting out some great genre content, especially this month and in the coming months. So I'm not complaining. I like the first 2. Thank you. All right. I'm alone. But let's go ahead and say
good night.
Good night.
Good night.